In a land steeped in old traditions, a surprising discovery has come to light in far-off Arabia, shaking things up for everyone. This find challenges what we thought we knew and could totally change how we see history. What is it? Well, it all has to do with some non-believers in Saudi Arabia making a discovery that clashes with what we've always been told. Could this rewrite the story of the past? We're going to travel deep into the heart of Saudi Arabia, where something ancient has been found that both religious folks and non-religious folks can't quite explain. Saudi Arabia, once called the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, is a country in Western Asia with a long and rich history, especially when it comes to religion, particularly Islam. When you think of Saudi Arabia, you probably picture Mecca and Medina, the holy cities that are super important to Muslims. You wouldn't normally think of Christianity there, but some recent studies are changing that. There's a new idea going around that says Mount Sinai might actually be in Saudi Arabia. Mount Sinai is a super important place for religions that follow Abraham, like Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. It's a holy site that people from all over the world visit to feel closer to their faith or to walk in the footsteps of Moses. The Bible tells us that this is where Moses got the 10 Commandments from God, which are like the foundation rules for Judaism and Christianity. In the book of Exodus, it says God called Moses up to the mountaintop and gave him the 10 Commandments, written on stone tablets. This mountain is sometimes called Jebel Musa, which means Mountain of Moses in Arabic. For Christians, Mount Sinai is like a preview of a special place called Mount Zion in heaven. It's where God lives with his followers in all his glory. You might remember Jesus' Sermon on the Mount from the Bible. In that talk, he wasn't just telling people to follow the rules exactly, but to really understand the spirit behind them, to live a life that reflects God's goodness. The Bible also connects Mount Sinai to the story of when Jesus changed his appearance in front of Moses and Elijah. For Jews, Mount Sinai is the holiest place on earth. They believe it's where they had a one-of-a-kind encounter with God, a special moment where the spiritual and physical worlds touched. This fits perfectly with Judaism, where religion is all about connecting with God in everyday life. They also link Mount Sinai to the story of Abraham being willing to sacrifice his son Isaac. This story strengthens their belief that they are God's chosen people and that they have a special agreement with him, promising to follow his commandments and teachings. The book of Deuteronomy talks more about this, reminding the Israelites of their promise to God and the importance of obeying his laws. Mount Sinai is a symbol for Jews, representing who they are and their role as God's chosen people. The Quran, the Islamic holy book, also recognizes the importance of Mount Sinai. It says this is where God spoke to Moses and gave him the tablets containing the Torah, the Islamic holy scriptures. These are like a set of instructions for how Muslims should live their lives, according to God's wishes. The mountain also represents the connection between humans and God, showing the importance of following his commands and staying close to him. Islamic stories praise Moses for his patience and obedience, as he bravely delivered God's message to the Pharaoh and his people. The mountain is also a symbol of God's mercy, as he forgave the Israelites for their mistakes and gave them a new set of laws through Moses. So, for Christians, Mount Sinai represents the journey of faith, the desire for holiness, and getting closer to God. Across all three religions, this mountain holds immense importance, but its exact location remains a mystery. The towering peak of Mount Sinai holds deep significance for Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But where exactly is this holy mountain located? Traditionally, Mount Sinai has been placed in Egypt, near the southwestern tip of the country, close to the border with Israel. This majestic mountain, reaching nearly 7,500 feet above sea level, is considered a sacred site and is home to several important religious landmarks. One of these landmarks is St. Catherine's Monastery, nestled on the Sinai Peninsula. Founded in 527 AD by Emperor Justinian I, This monastery holds the distinction of being one of the oldest continuously operating monasteries in the world. Its construction was prompted by hermit monks who frequented the area and eventually settled there. The monastery's impressive legacy extends beyond its age. It also houses the world's oldest continually operating library. This treasure trove contains ancient manuscripts and books dating back to the 4th century. With its stunning Byzantine architecture and a collection of awe-inspiring icons, the monastery attracts pilgrims from all corners of the globe. Within its walls lies the Chapel of the Burning Bush, believed to be the very spot where God spoke to Moses through a burning bush. For Christians worldwide, St. Catherine's Monastery is a significant pilgrimage destination. The monastery's history is rich and layered. During the Fatimid Caliphate, an existing chapel was transformed into a mosque, which saw regular use by Muslims until the 13th century. Today, the mosque is used for special occasions only. Following a period of neglect under the Ottoman Empire, the mosque was restored in the early 20th century. The mystery of Mount Sinai's exact location remains unsolved, with ongoing debate among scholars. Historically, various sites across the Middle East have been proposed. Researchers meticulously analyze the Bible and historical texts for clues. One particularly controversial theory emerged in 1873. Charles Baker, a British explorer and scholar, believed Mount Sinai was a volcano. He based this idea on biblical descriptions of smoke and fire, though not ash, emanating from the mountain. Additionally, he felt its location fit Moses' journey from Midian in northwest Arabia back to Egypt. He focused on mountains near the Gulf of Aqaba, particularly Jabal al-Nur, Mountain of Light. However, upon reaching his proposed site, Baker discovered it wasn't volcanic. He humbly retracted his volcanic hypothesis, but maintained his belief about the location. He acknowledged that the biblical references might describe a storm rather than a permanent feature, highlighting the difficulty of pinpointing the mountain's true location. While some scholars interpret the Bible metaphorically, others embraced Baker's ideas. Alternative locations like Egypt, Jordan, or Israel have also been suggested. Sadly, Baker's death soon after visiting Jabal al-Nur prevented further exploration and potential confirmation of his theory. Scholars Alois Musil and H. Philby supported Baker's notion of a Saudi Arabian location. Musil, an Austrian-Czech scholar, extensively explored the region in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Philby, a British intelligence officer deeply involved in the Middle East, documented his travels in books like The Heart of Arabia and Arabian Highlands. Both pointed to Jabal al-Manifa near Wadi al-Rab as the true Mount Sinai. Philby, after visiting Jabal al-Nur in 1952, argued that Jabal al-Manifa better matched the biblical descriptions compared to locations in Egypt or Jordan. In 1971, French scholar Jean Koenig suggested that Halal Badr, a volcanic peak in Saudi Arabia, might be the true location of Mount Sinai. He detailed his arguments in an article titled Sinaitic Itineraries in Arabia, asserting the accuracy of his interpretation. Building on the work of earlier researchers such as Charles Baker, Alois Musil, and H. Philby, Koenig provided a thorough collection of evidence and reasoning. Despite the strength of his argument, there is an even more controversial proposal that merits attention. One might ask, if Jan Koenig, with his extensive evidence, is not the most controversial figure, then who is? The answer is the American researcher Ron Wyatt, known for his contentious and widely discussed theories. Wyatt also believed that Mount Sinai was in Saudi Arabia, but he identified a different location, the Mountain of Almonds in northwest Saudi Arabia, near the Jordanian border, and the Gulf of Aqaba. Wyatt supported his claims with various purported discoveries, including sites like Noah's Ark, Sodom and Gomorrah, the Red Sea crossing, and the Ark of the Covenant, which he used to substantiate his hypothesis about Mount Sinai's location. Wyatt's theory was based on his interpretation of Exodus 3:1. He reasoned that since Moses tended Jethro's flocks, and Jethro was a priest of Midian, the mountain of God that Moses encountered must be in the land of Midian. After claiming to have discovered the Red Sea crossing site at Nuweiba in the Gulf of Aqaba in 1978, Wyatt concluded that the real Mount Sinai must lie east of the Red Sea crossing site, within modern-day western Saudi Arabia. He identified Jebel al-Lawz as the most likely candidate, noting it as the highest peak in the western Saudi Arabian mountain range. Wyatt bolstered his claim by pointing to what he believed to be archaeological evidence of a large encampment near the mountain, which he suggested was the Israelites' encampment before their exodus. Ron Wyatt's explorations led him to some intriguing discoveries near a mountain in Saudi Arabia that he believed to be Mount Sinai. He found a large pile of granite rocks decorated with images of bulls, cows, and oxen, located about a quarter-mile from the mountain's base. Wyatt theorized that this might be the very altar mentioned in the story of the golden calf, built by the Israelites at the foot of Mount Sinai. Wyatt's enthusiasm extended beyond this single discovery. He connected his proposed location for the Red Sea crossing to what he believed were remnants of Pharaoh's chariots on the seabed. He saw the ash-covered mountaintop as evidence of the fire of God, and a massive split rock as proof of a powerful water flow. Additionally, he found 12 stone pillars beneath the mountain and other artifacts, all of which he believed were linked to the Israelites' time near the mountain, or their exodus from Egypt. However, Wyatt's theories have been met with significant skepticism from scholars. There are several reasons for this. First, Ron Wyatt was not a formally trained archaeologist. He conducted his research independently, and his methods lacked the rigorous structure and documentation expected in professional archaeology. He did not publish his findings in peer-reviewed journals, which are publications where experts in the field critically evaluate research before it's made public. Instead, he shared his information based on his own interpretations. Second, Wyatt's unconventional methods led to conflicts with authorities. His activities, including trespassing and collecting artifacts, resulted in his arrest and imprisonment by the Saudi Arabian government on suspicion of espionage. Third, some biblical scholars raise an interesting point about the interpretation of the term Arabia. In the New Testament passage Galatians 4:25, the Apostle Paul mentions Mount Sinai being in Arabia. However, it's important to consider that Arabia, on maps from the 1st century AD, referred to a much larger area than modern-day Saudi Arabia. This broader region included the Sinai Peninsula, northern Egypt, and the Arabian Peninsula itself. This wider definition challenges the idea that Mount Sinai must be located specifically within the borders of modern Saudi Arabia. If Paul was referencing a map of his time, Arabia could have encompassed not only Saudi Arabia, but also countries like the United Arab Emirates and others, creating a vast desert region. While exploring the fascinating discoveries in Saudi Arabia, including a prehistoric ritual site, did you know this arid landscape once boasted lush greenery? It may seem surprising, but historical and scientific evidence unveils a bygone era of vibrant ecosystems. The Quran, the Islamic holy book revealed to Prophet Muhammad in the 7th century CE, offers a glimpse into this past. Its verses celebrate the wonders of creation, including plants and their role in the natural world. This focus on flora aligns with historical accounts by prominent figures like Herodotus, Josephus, and Eusebius. These ancient scholars and travelers described a land brimming with life, lush mountains, fertile valleys, flowing rivers, and even forests. Their records suggest a region rich with vegetation that supported trade and flourished due to its abundant resources. Science further validates this past with the power of fossils. These remnants of ancient life, including plants and animals, offer a window into Earth's history. Fossil discoveries in Saudi Arabia paint a picture of a diverse ecosystem once teeming with life. Elephants, hippos, and crocodiles, creatures that thrive in well-watered environments, indicate a flourishing habitat. Additionally, the presence of seahorse fossils points towards shallow coastal waters teeming with marine life. Satellite imagery and fossil evidence across the Arabian Peninsula, dating back at least 350,000 years, overwhelmingly suggest a period of much higher rainfall and a more verdant landscape. Plant fossils found in various locations like Tema, Dumat al-Jandal, and Jizan substantiate this theory. These fossils encompass a remarkable range of flora, including ferns, cycads, palms, grasses, legumes, and a variety of flowering plants. Their presence spans diverse geological periods, highlighting the rich tapestry of vegetation that graced Saudi Arabia throughout its history. The story of Saudi Arabia extends far beyond its current desert landscapes. Human fossils scattered across the region offer a captivating glimpse into the origins and evolution of humankind. These preserved bones and artifacts, left behind by our ancestors, tell a story of migration, cultural development, and interaction with the environment. Sites like Kalam al-Maidan, Al-Ula, and Al-Thukba have yielded a treasure trove of evidence, including stone tools, pottery, inscriptions, and even structures. These remains date back to various epochs of human history, ranging from the Lower Paleolithic period, a staggering 400,000 years ago, all the way through to the Neolithic period, around 10,000 years ago. Adding another layer to this captivating story are the discoveries of ancient marine environments. The presence of coral reefs and seagrass beds points towards a time when Saudi Arabia's waters were clear, warm, and teeming with life. These marine structures, dating back millions of years, thrived in a nutrient-rich environment that provided shelter and sustenance for diverse marine creatures. This aligns perfectly with the growing theme of surprising revelations unearthed in this region. Perhaps one of the most remarkable discoveries involves a network of ancient roads and tombs dating back a staggering 4,500 years. Archaeologists have dubbed these pathways funerary avenues. Located in the northwestern deserts, these long-distance routes connected oases and pastures, some stretching for hundreds or even thousands of kilometers. Cleverly designed, they followed the natural terrain and water sources, ensuring safe passage through the vast landscape. Lining these avenues are unique tombs, referred to as pendants or ring burials. Pendants are circular stone structures with distinctive tails extending perpendicular to the avenue, while ring burials are circular enclosures with low stone walls, varying in size but typically around 2 meters high and 20 meters long. These fascinating tombs hold the remains of our ancestors and their grave goods, offering a window into their lives and burial practices. However, amidst these captivating discoveries, Saudi Arabian archaeologists have also unearthed a find that sheds light on a more mysterious aspect of the region's past. Deep within a 7,000-year-old desert monument, they encountered human remains associated with a prehistoric cult. This ritual site, known as a Mustatil, meaning rectangle in Arabic, is one of over 1,600 such structures identified across Saudi Arabia since the 1970s. Buried beneath layers of sand, these enigmatic constructions were built during a period when the Arabian desert was a far greener landscape, teeming with grasslands and even home to elephants and hippos. The architects of these Mustatils appear to have been members of a secretive cult. As the climate gradually transformed into the arid desert we know today, these individuals likely gathered at these sites to protect their land. Archaeological evidence suggests that their rituals involved sacrificing cattle to appease unknown deities. A recent excavation, documented in a study published in March 2024, unearthed a Mustatil located 55 kilometers east of the ancient city of Alula. This impressive structure, stretching 140 meters and built from a local sandstone, held a prominent, upright stone known as a beidel at its center. Surrounding this central stone lay a collection of over 260 animal skull and horn fragments, primarily belonging to domesticated cattle. Traces of goat, gazelle, and smaller ruminant remains were also found, offering valuable clues about the rituals practiced by this long-lost community. Further exploration of the Mustatil revealed an intriguing feature adjacent to its head, a cyst. This term refers to a specific burial chamber style used during the Neolithic and Bronze Ages, found across vast regions like Europe and the Middle East. Radiocarbon dating, a technique used to determine the age of organic material, was applied to both the human remains and the animal bones found around the Beetle. Intriguingly, the results revealed a discrepancy. The man's burial occurred approximately 400 years after the animals were sacrificed. This fascinating detail suggests that the Mustatil likely served as a pilgrimage site for an extended period. Generations of the same community, or perhaps even different groups, may have returned to this location for ritualistic purposes, highlighting the enduring significance of these structures for their creators. The continued use of the Mustatil long after the initial animal sacrifices points to the deeply ingrained role these rituals played in the lives of these ancient peoples.